We're here at one of the most important but short-lived environments on this planet, a land that is dominated by both grasses and wildflowers, and is home to a variety of creatures. Today we'll see how this place is both beautifully simple and environmentally complex. Welcome to the meadow. Meadows are a magical habitat with huge environmental benefits. They behave like a filter, reducing pollutants before they can access our waterways, and the plant communities themselves are the perfect nursery for insects and other small animals. These animals then in turn are food for much larger predators like songbirds, raptors, coyotes, and foxes. As you look over the meadow, you'll see that it's made up of different layers, just like our forest. The ones closest to the ground, the base layer, are made of things like these grasses, and they provide the cover for a variety of wildlife that live here. Moving up, you'll see that there are some structural vegetation. These provide the basic framework of the meadow and serve as things like perches and other food for wildlife. Lastly, at the highest point, you'll see different seasonal highlights, blooms such as this butterfly weed that change from season to season and serve as a resource of both pollen and nectar for a variety of insects and supporting the next generation.
One of the great things about meadows is that without trees, there's room for lots of other things to grow. This is special on its own, but all the plants and wildflowers make great homes for lots of other creatures. Let's go look for some. Let's see if we can find some butterflies or bees in action. When we look for flying insects, we have to be careful not to harm their delicate wings. Sometimes it can be better to look, not touch. All of these creatures are going from flower to flower, but they're doing a big job: pollination. They pick up pollen on their furry legs and bodies, and when they come to another plant, they leave some pollen behind. Whether it's by butterflies, bees, wasps, or flies, without pollination, most plants wouldn't produce seeds. It's up to insects to keep our plants growing. All of this activity attracts the attention of some flying friends. Birds rely on the meadow to find food and care for their young. There's lots of insects and seeds to eat, and materials to use to build their nests. When birds eat fruits and seeds, they're helping out the meadow a lot. The seed doesn't get fully digested, so when the bird flies somewhere else and does its business, the seed grows where it lands. In fact, lots of other animals help seeds disperse this way. So you see, the meadow looks peaceful, but it's a hard-working ecosystem with lots of things to see.
Meadows are so short-lived here in Pennsylvania because of a process known as succession. Succession is the natural yet never-ending change in plant communities over time. This process begins with a large-scale disturbance, something as unassuming as a big windstorm to something as crazy and raging as a fire. Even the simple act of mowing your lawn is enough to start the process of succession all over again. After a disturbance, the cleared area allows for much of the sunlight to reach the ground. This provides the perfect environment for fast-growing, sun-loving plants such as our grasses here. We refer to plants like these as pioneers, as they were the first to take over the newly disturbed landscape, just like the pioneers that traveled westward. As time progresses, some fast-growing pioneer trees will establish themselves. This includes things like locust pine, cedar, and poplar. Eventually, these species will give way to slower-growing, more climax hardwoods, such as beeches, oaks, and hickories. Those climax hardwoods don't require the sunlight that the pioneer trees do, and so will start growing and germinate under their protective shade. Eventually, these climax hardwoods will grow enough to outcompete and outshade those pioneer species, transforming the once meadow back into a forest. Our Aquatong Meadow, where we're standing right now, used to be a forest. In 2016, a large storm blew through, leveling the trees in this area, creating a large cluttered mess. This mess was then cleared and a meadow was planted in 2019. From now on, this meadow area will be managed through a series of mowing, spot treatments, and manual weeding. This will allow for the meadow and the species that rely on it to persist for years to come. I hope that you all enjoyed exploring our meadows with us today, and I also hope that you see how these short-lived habitats play a critical role in the local ecosystem. If you want to continue learning about the mysteries of meadows on your own, I encourage you to check out our activity guide available both on our website as well as here at the Preserve. Remember, the next time you visit the Preserve to bring your activity book with you, as some of those activities are intended to be done on site. I want to thank you all again for joining us today, and until next time, keep on experiencing what's natural and learning what's native.